And so when I got to set and I saw how funny it was, I wasn't surprised. But I think audiences will be surprised.
It's the case the police have gotten involved, escorting some of the offenders out of theater.
Now, see, something like this, yeah, this is out of control. You can't be throwing like the drinks, all right? Popcorn, chips, maybe like some food, like that's not too messy, but wow, man, this is absolutely bananas.
And then listen to how loud it is from the outside.
Minecraft has absolutely dominated at the box office. Second weekend is clocking 80 milli.
Welcome back to Gossip with Gabby. Rachel Zegler might have thought she was filming a cutesy behind-the-scenes moment when she documented herself arriving at a theater to watch her own film. But what actually unfolded was pure embarrassment. And the internet pounced. Zegler showed up with a small group of friends, proudly flaunting soda cups and popcorn tubs with her face printed on them. But there was just one problem. She was the only person there. The guy taking tickets didn't even recognize her. That moment, casually posted on social media, instantly went viral for all the wrong reasons. Viewers saw it as symbolic of the entire Snow White disaster, flashy on the surface, but completely empty inside. The scene painted a haunting image of a star whose fame had outpaced her actual audience. Her attempt to make a moment feel celebratory only emphasized how little public interest there was. And in today's internet culture, that kind of content doesn't quietly disappear. It becomes meme fodder. The mockery was swift, brutal, and everywhere. People weren't just laughing at the box office numbers. They were laughing at the arrogance it took to still document the flop as if it were a flex. The vibe was clear. Rachel Zegler overestimated her star power, and audiences were not here for it. While Zegler's Snow White stumbled into empty theaters, Minecraft was a full-blown cultural explosion. In some screenings, fans were so hyped they were literally throwing popcorn, screaming, and even getting escorted out by security. One phrase, "Chicken Jockey," became a meme-level battle cry, creating a fandom frenzy that completely overshadowed Disney's supposed blockbuster. It wasn't just a movie, it was an event. Theaters were packed, and social media was flooded with reactions from teens who turned showings into celebrations.
This is going to make some changes in the movie-going industry.
Meanwhile, Snow White was dead on arrival. Analysts began predicting that Minecraft, in just its second weekend, would outperform Snow White's entire domestic run. Every box office update only made things worse for Disney.
This movie ended up being a nightmare for Disney.
The success of Minecraft wasn't just about the movie, it was about what it represented. It was fun, nostalgic, and made for the people who actually cared. While Snow White tried to rebrand itself with a modern message, Minecraft leaned into its weird, quirky origins, and it worked. This comparison became a major embarrassment for Disney, showing how easily even a silly movie about blocks could defeat a so-called legacy title when heart and authenticity are involved. If there were awards for tone-deaf marketing, Disney would have swept the category. From the start, the Snow White campaign felt like it was built on arrogance and condescension. Instead of celebrating the classic 1937 story that millions grew up loving, the studio, and especially Rachel Zegler, took every opportunity to insult it.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
She called the prince a stalker, mocked the love story, and essentially declared the original as outdated trash. But here's the thing, audiences didn't agree. Fans weren't looking for a reimagined Snow White. They wanted the timeless fairy tale magic Disney was once known for. But instead, what they got was a flood of press interviews filled with social commentary and self-congratulation. Disney seemed more interested in teaching audiences a lesson than entertaining them. That tone seeped into every trailer, poster, and soundbite. It was a campaign that said, "If you don't like this, you're the problem." And that strategy completely backfired. Even neutral moviegoers started turning against the film, not because of the story itself, but because of how aggressively Disney pushed a narrative that felt out of touch and wildly self-important. Let's be honest, the backlash wasn't just aimed at the movie. It was aimed directly at Rachel Zegler. In fact, it felt like she became the personification of everything people hated about modern Disney. Instead of being the charming, sweet lead you'd expect from a character like Snow White, she came across as dismissive, preachy, and, in the eyes of many, ungrateful. Public interviews where she trashed the original film only made things worse. Her tone felt smug, her jokes fell flat, and her attempt to position herself as a woke heroine felt more like a PR stunt than a genuine reimagining of the character. Even worse, every time she opened her mouth, the situation got worse. Fans started referring to her as box office poison, and even casual viewers who didn't follow movie drama were turned off by her attitude.
Let's keep in mind that these studios only get to keep around half of the box office number. Little more than half from domestic theaters, little less than half from international theaters. So about half is a good thumb rule. But look at this. That's it. Snow White will have to start charging for those pies, crashing and burning the U.S. box office. Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot grossed just $14.2 million on the second 3-day weekend.
She wasn't just the star of a bad movie. She was now the symbol of Disney's disconnect from its audience. Whether it's fair or not, Rachel Zegler's name has become forever tied to this historic flop, and climbing out of that association may take years, if it's even possible. If there's one lesson Hollywood should take from this entire debacle, it's this: listening to your audience matters. The team behind the Minecraft movie understood that perfectly. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel. They didn't lecture their fan base. They simply asked, what do Minecraft players love? And then built a movie around that answer. The result? A fun, fan-approved, high-energy film that didn't take itself too seriously, but still respected its source material. Meanwhile, Disney did the exact opposite. Instead of listening, they dictated. They tried to tell fans what they should like, rather than giving them what they actually wanted. That disconnect was fatal. While Minecraft actors were posting silly videos, engaging with fans, and celebrating the game's legacy, Disney stars were caught making smug remarks, dismissing feedback, and looking down on nostalgia. Minecraft embraced its community. Snow White rejected it. And the box office showed the brutal consequences. One franchise soared by being inclusive and fun, while the other imploded under the weight of its own self-importance. Disney's Snow White wasn't just a creative risk, it was a narrative mess. What was once a sweet and simple fairy tale about kindness, love, and inner beauty turned into a confused dystopian, girl boss, rebellion flick. Instead of keeping the charm that made Snow White a timeless classic, Disney decided to twist it into something so unrecognizable that even die-hard Disney fans were baffled. 7 dwarves?
Gone.
Magical forest vibes? Traded in for vague rebel uprisings. A heartfelt story? Replaced by lectures on empowerment and vague political metaphors. The remake's plotline tried to shove in so many modern elements that the original soul of the story completely vanished. A lot of audiences walked in expecting a reimagined, but still magical, fairy tale. What they got felt like a rejected Hunger Games spin-off. It wasn't whimsical. It wasn't heartfelt. It was overly serious, occasionally preachy, and ultimately soulless. And all of this was delivered under the Disney banner, the same studio that once defined enchantment. Critics called it confusing. Fans called it depressing. And the general public? They just didn't show up. Instead, they turned to Minecraft, a movie that gave them exactly what it promised: fun. Snow White's failure wasn't just about poor casting or politics. It was about completely losing sight of what made the story beloved in the first place. It's one thing to be outspoken. It's another to repeatedly alienate your core audience. Rachel Zegler's interviews leading up to the Snow White release became a case study in how not to handle press. Time and time again, she criticized the original film, implying that anyone who loved it was stuck in the past or even complicit in outdated ideas. Instead of promoting the magic of a new version, she tore down the old one, and by extension, the people who cherished it. Audiences weren't just being invited to something new, they were being told the thing they loved was cringe, and if they disagreed, they were the problem. That tone didn't just hurt the film, it painted Zegler as unlikable and arrogant. And once the internet latches onto that image, it's nearly impossible to shake off. She went from a promising young star to a walking controversy overnight. Clips of her interviews were circulated, mocked, and dissected by both fans and influencers. YouTubers tore into her comments, Reddit threads exploded, and even mainstream media began questioning whether she was too polarizing to lead a major film. In an industry that runs on likability and connection, Zegler seemed to be pushing everyone away, and she paid for it with public opinion, reputation damage, and a colossal box office failure. The difference between the two films could be summed up in one word: respect. Minecraft respected its audience. Disney didn't. The creators of the Minecraft movie made it a point to honor the game's legacy while still telling an entertaining story. From voice actors posting funny skits to behind-the-scenes clips going viral on TikTok, the whole rollout felt like a celebration. Fans weren't just customers, they were collaborators. The energy around the Minecraft movie was infectious because it came from a place of genuine excitement. People could feel the fun and creativity oozing from every frame. Meanwhile, Disney's Snow White gave off the opposite vibe. It treated its audience like they needed to be taught a lesson. Instead of joy, the marketing carried a tone of smug superiority. Disney acted like it was doing the world a favor by fixing an outdated story. But here's the truth: nobody asked for it to be fixed. What audiences wanted was a fun, magical escape, not a scolding about how old stories are problematic. Minecraft gave people what they wanted: laughs, adventure, and nostalgia. Snow White tried to reinvent the wheel and ended up running itself over in the process. It wasn't long before the internet's fury turned toward the top of the Disney food chain, Bob Iger himself. As CEO, Iger has been at the center of multiple controversial decisions, but the Snow White disaster may go down as one of the worst under his leadership. Many critics and fans pointed out that Disney's string of failures wasn't isolated, it was a pattern. The studio kept betting on reboots, pushing forced progressivism, and ignoring actual feedback from audiences. And Snow White was just the most glaring example of that arrogance. The nickname Bob Iger started trending as people accused him of lying to shareholders and steamrolling dissenting opinions. Viewers questioned why Disney kept doubling down on unpopular creative directions and kept casting polarizing figures like Zegler in iconic roles. Iger's stubborn defense of the film only added fuel to the fire. It felt like damage control disguised as leadership, and no one was buying it. Under his reign, Disney's magic has faded, and fans are starting to lose faith in the very studio that once shaped their childhoods. If Snow White was a test, Bob Iger failed it spectacularly. At the end of the day, Minecraft proved something Hollywood often forgets: people still crave fun, genuine, and uncomplicated entertainment. You don't need to inject politics into every scene or reframe every legacy character with a modern spin. Sometimes, just honoring the spirit of the original and making it fun is more than enough. Minecraft delivered a simple, joyful story that echoed the game's spirit: building, exploring, and having a blast. And it crushed Snow White at the box office because of it. Audiences didn't want to be educated at the theater. They wanted to escape. The Minecraft team understood that and stayed focused on delivering a product that was loyal to its fanbase. Meanwhile, Disney made the fatal mistake of trying to be smarter than its audience. And the audience noticed. The Snow White remake didn't just fail financially, it failed emotionally. It didn't connect, it didn't inspire, and most importantly, it didn't entertain. And that's the final twist of irony. The movie with the bigger budget, the richer legacy, and the famous studio behind it got completely outclassed by a movie about block people and chickens.
Shake